What's going on, guys? We are here at Cass and Josh's house for our first podcast. I'm the owner and creator and etc. of Macroholics Nutrition, and we have clients from all over the world, and most of you guys are probably listening as clients. We're going to be messing with the format. Today we're going to be going through like a review of our previous week, covering Macroholics news, and then we're also going to be covering some non-scale victories, doing a taste test comparison of 3 different macro-friendly pizzas, and finishing up with answering some questions that were asked on our community page, and just kind of having an open-ended general discussion about all these subjects as we go. It's going to be very informal, and we'll kind of mess with it over time and see what works well. But jumping right into it, this is Cassidy Hartung. She is my first full-time employee at Macroholics. She'll be on this show a ton, probably every time. And she has been with us from day one. She was like, you could consider her the first Macroholic in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
And so she will be joining us, and kind of we'll be having her input and stuff as well. But Cassidy, everybody.
Hello.
So getting right into things, guys. First thing, some news is that Stephen Willis, coach of multiple regionals athletes, some CrossFit Games individual athletes, and also of a CrossFit Games regionals teams and CrossFit Games team, will be taking over the programming for Macroholics Nutrition. So he'll be writing the at-home programming, the CrossFit gym programming, the regular gym programming, and so moving forward, he will be taking over that responsibility for us. And we're excited to have him on board. He'll probably be a guest in the future, if not, maybe even next week. And so we're really thankful to have him on board and excited to add that value for our clients. The other thing, guys, August 25th, that's a Saturday at 3 p.m. We'll be having a social at 4 here in Lubbock, and it's free. Feel free to bring your kids. If you don't like golf, it's a driving range. There's all this interactive technology. There's full sets of really nice clubs, so you don't have to bring clubs, and you don't have to play golf. If you just want to sit at the table underneath the fans and drink a Diet Coke or whatever, please come and hang out with us. We're excited to have a lot of people come in. Sounds like we've got 4 lanes, and we're paying for all that, obviously, so just come hang out with us and have a drink if you want. Moving forward, guys, week review. We surpassed 20,000 pounds program-wide. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, we started this thing October. It'll be 2 years in October. Mm-hmm. It was right around my birthday, so that's how I kind of always remember the date. But in October, we'll be at 2 years. So with that, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we were, getting close to 25,000 pounds by the time we get to our 2-year anniversary as a program. Some big ones. Jennifer Ondraziak hit 55 pounds. Justin Van Zant, 50 pounds. Urali Hernandez, 40 pounds. Tuvana Lundgren, 35 pounds. All those people have been super consistent, and we're looking forward to celebrating our clients' victories. We had 6 different clients all hit 20 pounds of weight loss total. But it's not just about the scale, and we have some other non-scale victories we wanted to share. The first one is from Arlene Avila. I'm not sure how to say it, Arlene. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. She fit into a medium-sized shirt for the first time when she started the program. I was in an extra large. Cassidy's 55 pounds? 60. It was 60, okay? And were you wearing a large, like girls and most stuff?
For sure.
Yeah. Any extra larges? Well, you did some of the sorority shirts and stuff.
All my sorority t-shirts were like extra large.
Intentionally.
But I mean,
yeah,
definitely had some extra large, not sorority t-shirts.
Yeah. I think I did try on some double XLs when I was like 275. Like I put them on and I was like, no, I'm not buying a double XL shirt. Like I'm not going to make that purchase. And so that was kind of the top end for me, and worked my way down from there. I do have some mediums. I don't wear them very often. They're schmediums. They're very tight. So, but that's awesome, Arlene, and we're so excited for you. It's super cool to, notice differences in that way as well. Next one's from Diana Meadows. Today, one of my coworkers said, "Have you lost weight? I can see it in your face." I proudly reported that I had indeed lost 20 pounds. So Diana, having people notice, particularly people that you aren't super duper close to, is kind of a cool benchmark. There's like a really popular meme. I don't know if it's a meme, but I don't really agree with it. It says like 4 weeks for you to notice, 8 weeks for your friends to notice, and 12 weeks for like others to notice, people that aren't like really close to you. And but that is like a really cool progression when like the first time you see everybody for the first time, they're like,
whoa,
you know, kind of drawn back. Yeah. And because I know Cass was kind of like, she had been in school, she moved in with Hallie and I. Hallie's my wife, for those of you all don't know. And she was like working and training and sleeping. Like that was like her whole life during
like,
that period.
I like went away and I like went to fat camp, I call it. I moved in with Hallie and David, and then I came back to like see all my friends like, you know, 7-8 months later, and I was like a completely different body. Everybody was like, where did you go? Like everybody like thought I had like surgery done.
Yeah, that was pretty similar for me too, going to competitions, because there would be people from back in Midland. So I had lost, for those of you guys who don't know, my story includes 85 pounds of weight loss. And so when I went back to Midland after losing weight and competed, everyone was like, who's this guy, you know? And so totally relatable. And I don't handle it well. I don't know if you do. Like,
no.
Is it like, it makes me feel so cringe. Yeah. Like when someone's like, dude, what are you doing? Oh my, lift up your shirt. And I'm just like,
oh yeah, it's the worst. So awkward. Like shopping, people will be helping me like find a shirt or something, and they'll be like, let me see your guns, like flex your arm muscles. And I'm always like, no.
I literally get lightheaded when people like compliment me more than once in a row. Like back-to-back compliments, I'm just like, thank you. I don't know how to respond. Like, but so totally relatable, Diana. Next one's Amada, not Amanda, guys. AMADA. It's Amada. Anyone out there gets it wrong, I'll fight you. Amada, she got into a size 8 jeans for the first time, so that's super cool. I can't really relate at like the jeans dress sizes.
I can. Yeah. I still like. I bought a size 25 like the other day, and I was like, I still can't believe that I'm wearing a size 25. Like it's crazy.
I think the only thing that men can relate to, it may be jeans, like the waist measurement. Because like I've always known, 32, 30, whatever. Because I remember being a kid, and on Seinfeld they have an episode where he changes the number on his jeans so he can lie about his jean size. So even men are subject to that for sure. Cade Powell, 2-rep max squat clean, 235. It's really cool to see people. I know Cade recently switched to maintenance, right? So Cade's not losing weight anymore. He's eating to fuel his training, and it's a brave new world, right? Whenever you do that, and you do in the short term often, is particularly for people who are really going after it, see some leveling off of strength numbers, particularly like upper body stuff. But so for Cade to be tasting those new barbell PRs now that he's maintaining. He's doing a lot of things. He got bar muscle ups recently, and I see him up there across the road. He had a boot on. I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I only saw him for like a minute. He was out the door, but he was wearing a boot, so I don't know what happened, but he's
still getting it done though.
Yeah, he's still in there working, but looks like he's in a good rhythm training and with the program. Olivia wore my first ever 2-piece in a public place and felt confident. I mean, that's like, I hate shirts. I hate wearing shirts. I don't even like clothes, really. But it was so nice to like be able to take your shirt off whenever you want. So I totally can understand like the freedom of that, of being able to just like wear a swimsuit like everyone else and not have to like think about it a ton or worry about how you're sitting or like. Oh my gosh. To me that was like so much of my life for like years of like just thinking about like sucking in and like angles and like
getting in the middle of a picture, like trying to hide. It's like totally, now I'm like, put me in front.
Everyone move. No, so it is a very freeing thing, it's like, it's a sad thing to know, like, because what's weird is when you realize like nobody really cares as much as you think you do, as much as you think they do. Like anyone out there who feels like uncomfortable with their appearance, like please know that like people don't care a tenth as much as you think they do, but like you care, right? And so you see yourself in pictures. Like that's why it's so hard sometimes to find before and after pictures of people who have lost a lot of weight. Like I know Cass has like two, and like she grew up in the social media generation of like everyone posting pictures on everything all the time. Yeah, untag, delete, untag, right? So, but it's really cool when you kind of cross that bridge and start to feel more and more like at home in your own skin. So Dustin strung together 7 unbroken bar muscle ups at the end of a workout. Previous was 2. It's so cool when it clicks, Dustin. I know a lot of people like have plenty of upper body strength, and like just losing some body fat and working on a skill a little bit can like just cause things to just take off.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's awesome, man. Totally relatable for me. Charla Coates, wedding ring is too big for her now, and she also had to tighten the straps on her sandals, like the leather strap.
That's always buckle. Crazy to me.
Even your feet and your hands,
feet lose weight.
Freaking fingers can lose weight. It's but the I love the like the leather like belts and like all those things because it's so concrete. It's like no, like definite progress was made. Yep. But the we've talked about it before. I used to always like kind of sell the program as like we're saving money. Like yes, the program costs per month, but like you're going to be eating at home more probably. You're going to be eating less probably. And like so like ultimately like kind of pays for itself, you know? And then like once we got down the road, everyone's like, I'm having to buy an entire new wardrobe. And it's like, so I can't really say that anymore.
It's
so like
true.
Because I'm sure that we've had people go down whole shoe sizes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like,
I mean, like I went down a half size.
Yeah.
For sure. And I like, it's just so weird that your feet lose weight. Like I can't even get over that. I'm like, my feet didn't get any shorter. Like they just got flatter.
The weight pushing down on them spread them out like Play-Doh. Oh yeah. Okay, so the next one is from Amanda Higdon. I went from a size 20 to a size 16 jeans. Can you do you have any understanding of how jeans fit?
Well, there's like 20 or there's like 30, 28, 27, 26, 25, and then there's also like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. So
they're odd numbers? Or only in certain things?
Only in like random jeans, like 25 is an odd number.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends on like where you're buying them from. So like
is that an inch measurement of something?
I have no idea.
That's so weird. What a confusing scale. Okay, so that's it for the non-scale victories. There was a bunch more, by the way, guys, and we love reading them, so please continue to share them. But that's all the ones that we're covering for today. Moving on, we're going to be awkwardly eating in front of you and talking about pizza, so you'll have to sit there and watch us chew.
It's ASMR.
Or listen, for those of you guys not watching on YouTube. But we are comparing 3 different protein or macro-friendly pizzas. So everyone wants pizza. It's pretty easy with all the options now. It's like everything. Ice cream, cookies, pizza. There's like a macro variant of everything. Mm-hmm. You know you're getting really into macros whenever you start saying it tastes just as good as the real thing, which is never true. It's never true. The only exceptions that I have are no sugar ketchup, just as good as the real thing, and Fairlife milk, just as good as regular milk. Are there any others that come to mind?
Well, you're asking me, so I think like Sinfit cookies are just as good as regular cookies.
Lies.
No, they're
trash.
So good.
No, they are good. They're very good.
I would eat them on a reset day. Like that's how good they are.
We'll see. I'll call you. I'll be watching the Sinfit cookies, and I'll call you out 100% when you don't eat one and you eat Oreos instead because they're way better. But I do agree that the Sinfit cookies are very
so good.
Okay, so to cover the details real quick, so I'm gonna line them up in the order I'm gonna talk about. But the Quest protein pizza, whatever you want to call it, Quest pizza that just came out. It's kind of a hot topic of discussion. They probably put more into research and development of new stuff than any other line on the market. They were the first ones to make like decent tasting protein bars that I had ever had. So they've continued to expand their market into other areas. But this is 34% protein, and it's $6.99 for a pizza. and a pizza includes 680 calories for a whole pizza. So, we cut it into 5 pieces. And you could eat half of it, right? That'd be 340 calories, and you can adjust the serving size, but we're looking at the cost comparison. So 34%, $6.99. The homemade one we're doing, what we have here is a flat-out pizza crust. We have mozzarella cheese from Costco, basic mozzarella shredded, and we have Hormel turkey pepperonis. And this one is 28% protein, so slightly lower protein, but $3 when we came out with the ingredients, all of them together. So it would be $3 per pizza is what you'd be paying ultimately. And that's going to be like half the price, and this is 439 calories. So much more affordable. The other thing to consider too is like you could add more pepperoni.
Protein, yeah.
You could add, you could do a little bit less sauce or whatever, and you could like adjust the macros accordingly. So there's more flexibility there. And then the last one is the Real Good Pizza. Been around for a long time. I would argue that it's not even pizza. While they are good, it's a slice of meat with sauce and cheese and pepperoni on top. It's like a piece of chicken, right? And it's like made to be kind of crispy. So it does taste like crust-ish. Tastes like kind of spongy crust. But they're all pretty decent. I've had them before, but we're going to do side-by-side analysis. So when you go bite for bite, you have to try to compare.
Homemade.
Yeah, we're going homemade first. We've had this a million times. And I love that wherever you're at macro-wise, you can tweak. Mm-hmm. So you can add pineapple to it if you're a pineapple person. Or if you hate pineapple on pizza, tell me how upset you are in the comments right now. But you're wrong. Because all that pizza's missing is sweet. Tomato's kind of sweet. But
I love sweet and salty. That's my thing. But
it is polarizing. We need to do that poll on the page and find out where we're at on pineapple lovers or haters. So that's homemade. Next one.
Real Good.
Real Good's next. Side by side, that's actually, I would say, slightly better. Why?
I disagree. Because I like the crunchy thin crust. Mm-hmm. I'm a thin crust kind of person. So this, it tastes like chicken. Uh-huh. And this tastes like crunchy pizza.
It does taste closer to pizza.
Yeah.
I am a meat person. I love meat. And this is $5.97 for 520 calories. So really, like,
that's where it gets it for me.
The Real Good, but it's way smaller too.
It's way smaller. That's what I'm saying. It's too many calories for how much.
Yeah, there's not as much food volume for sure. So it's smaller, but really macro and calorie wise, it's very, very similar. But you're not getting any, like, it's kind of surprising because this one's much higher fat if I remember right. Yeah. So Real Good, 6% carbs. That is kind of a bonus to it.
Yeah, like, there's like barely any carbs.
There's basically no carbs. It's meat, sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. Like, so that is a good bump to the Real Good one, considering that. So last one, Quest, the new one on the market, kind of the inspiration for the showdown for pizza options.
It's my favorite.
This has some like spices and herbs on it, for sure.
That tastes like a microwave pizza that you eat growing up. Like, and I love that.
It is like, kind of Tostino's, like the little
100%.
Party pizza. That is kind of what it tastes like.
Like, I can't taste like diet at all. It just tastes like a frozen pizza, which I love.
Okay, so from my perspective, as some might expect, you get what you pay for on this one, I think.
Yeah.
Because I would rate the one that's the most expensive per calorie is the Quest one. And it's also slightly better.
Yeah.
But they all have their own place, right? Like, no carbs at all.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. So if you don't have any carbs but you want pizza, like, you can fit this in, no problem. Mm-hmm. And then the homemade one, you can tweak however you want. Like, wherever situation you're in. And it's cheaper. So
it's a little less calories.
Yes, it is, yeah. And you can, the cheese, we put a lot of cheese on this, too. Do you remember how much, Jared, by any chance? But so we put kind of a lot of cheese, so you could go even lower.
Yeah.
67 grams.
Or you could use, like, there's like low fat mozzarella and all that. This is like full fat mozzarella.
And it's 67 grams, which is a ton. Like, that's not like...
That's like 2 servings.
Yeah, 28, like 30 would be
an
ounce or one serving. So that's a little over 2 servings of cheese. And I've done less than one, and it's still pretty good. But then the carb percentage starts to go up. So that's a consideration. So they all have a home, but like, man, I'm slightly surprised that Quest took it home. And I love Quest. I'm a Quest fan. Like, I love everything they do at their company. But Quest for me.
It's
Quest,
really good, yeah.
All things considered, Quest, including the money and everything?
I would go Quest number 1, homemade pizza number 2, and then Real Good 3.
Yeah, I don't know, because like, yeah, definitely Quest number 1. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the fence about this. I really like this just as much as the homemade one. I like the Real Good pizza. Mm-hmm. And so to me, like, this would be so easy to fit in so often. Yeah. But it would stack up quick. You're talking about $6 for 500 calories,
basically. Calories. It is really high calorie, and that surprises me because, I mean, I don't know. I just assume if it's chicken is like the crust.
It's mostly fat. That's why. Yeah. The fat is what, and it's not like a super lean chicken. And then it might even be like regular pepperoni, like not even selected for that.
That's what I think.
I wonder if you got like a cheese and put turkey pepperoni on it, like how good the macros would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Quest takes the cake, guys. Quest wins this one.
Super good.
So moving forward from there, I forgot where I was at. Oh yeah, we got some questions. So we asked for subjects to discuss, kind of open-ended. We haven't like researched these. I just barely read through them right before we started shooting this, but some open-ended questions that we could kind of discuss. So Courtney Rindal asked, that's not the start to the question. So the question was originally from Crystal Olson Ramirez. I've only been a macroholic since February. But a lingering question I've had is for those who have been doing this for a year plus. Do you ever grow weary of constantly using your phone to look up and log? It's become a way of life, but I often feel guilty. Very legitimate concern, Crystal. So I've had this discussion many times. I've reflected on this, and I've thought about, the different versions. We've had people that have applied our program in different ways because it was such a problem for them. Mm-hmm. So you do have that option, first of all. You don't have to do it through your phone. The way I see it and the way I kind of break it down is you are trading, right, this commitment to doing everything on your phone, weighing your food, for the freedom to eat with anyone, anywhere, and to not have to have like your pre-made foods, not have to be selective about what you can and can't have. Like, we don't eliminate any food groups or anything from being fit into the program. So you gain that freedom, but you are kind of like, in some senses, a slave to your phone, in the sense that that is your compass. That is what holds you accountable to what the reality is of what you can and can't do to have a healthy and effective relationship with food. So it is a big trade-off. So it's not something to be taken lightly. What do you think, Cass?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with feeling guilty for, always being on your phone, especially when it's like dinner or something like that. But for me personally, it's just like, I don't even question it, because it's like, it's a priority to me. So like, it's gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna pull my phone out and log my food. So it's just, I guess I'm just so used to it that it doesn't even like cross my mind anymore.
Right. So me, like, it's much, in some senses, it's much easier for us because we're all gonna sit there. Like, I'm with my wife who does Macroholics, and my 2 best friends do Macroholics, and my training partners do Macroholics. And so when you're like at a restaurant, like, and everyone's ordering, after you get done ordering, you're all going to be like looking down at your phone for a couple minutes, and then you can hang out afterwards. But I do prioritize that in a lot of situations. And I know, like, I'm not bringing my phone into this wedding, and I'm turning it off and I'm leaving it in the car. So I'm going to make a plan beforehand. And I can't tell you how many times before going around and making sure I'm there to be present and connect with people I care about, is that I'm sitting in my car saying, okay, I'm going into Chipotle. I'm going to have rice, black beans, 2 servings of chicken, blah, 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 log, check, click the phone off, put it in the glove compartment, and go inside. And I know what I'm going to get, and it's like, it fits my targets, and I'm good to go. So when that's the case, like in Denver recently, we had a family reunion. I was around my brothers and sisters, and I did that first thing in the morning. I woke up early, I worked out, I got on my laptop, I did my work, and I pulled out my phone, and I knew what my plan was, right? And I knew that I had this, and this all set up, and that I didn't have to be on my phone in the presence and community of the people I care about. So
making a plan.
You also mentioned, do I ever grow weary of constantly using my phone to look up and log? I mean, there's days where you're like a little bit like, I would say like reset day is the only time I'm like, why? Like, you know, I need to do it, but whatever. Like, but I don't know if weary is the right word. It's just like a sense of priority for me. It's the way I navigate this thing that's been a big challenge for me for a very long time. There are other ways to do it. You could have a set meal plan, right? Where you know, like, I'm going to eat this for breakfast, this for lunch, I'm going out to dinner, I'm going to have this. And then you don't have to be on your phone all day. So you could be like to where you commit 15 minutes in the morning to know exactly what you're going to have. And then, but what you lose is the adaptability and the freedom. So like you're going to Taco Bell for lunch with your boss, and your boss is like, hey, we're not going to go there, we're going to go over here. Mm-hmm. If I have my phone, I can delete, log, switch things out. If you don't, you're kind of in a bind, right? Yeah. And so the other way to restrict calories to make sure that you're, you know, eating the right amount is to not eat sugar and to have no white flour and all these other things that are effective if applied consistently. But the reality of the situation is that most of us, like, what's more isolating? Yeah. Looking at your phone for 5 minutes after you order your food, or being like,
not eating.
Yeah, I can't eat that, or, you know, I have specific dietary needs, so I can't go to that restaurant. Right. Like, so it's they're all give and take. And to me, when I mean, I've done everything, and I failed at a lot of different diets for a long time. For me, it was just a very simple. It's the best balance of all the things to consider for most people, but there are exceptions. So just know, Crystal, if you're looking to try some different tweaked approaches, we can help you with that. So the next one is from Irene Salinas. I've heard you say a certain food has good macros. When reading labels and trying to decide if it's a good choice, what exactly should I be looking for on the label to be able to say it has good macros? Are there certain percentages to look at? Thanks. There's a few different ways to look at this, Irene. The first would be log it and see if it helps you hit your targets. Mm-hmm. That's the oversimplified answer. I know that's not what you're looking for. I will have an answer closer to what you're asking. But the biggest piece of the puzzle for most people is if you're considering eating something, log it in your phone, pull up your percentage chart, and you're going to develop an awareness so fast if you do that every time. And it does tie back to what Crystal was talking about. You're going to be on your phone a lot if you're developing that skill set of knowing, like, when I eat a cheese stick, this happens to my targets. When I eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, this happens to my targets. And so you can develop that awareness pretty quickly, and especially if you're looking every time you log an ingredient or a food. Here's the trick that ties into more what you're talking about. If you have a gram of protein for every 10 calories in the food, you have a 40% protein food. So let's say something is 100 calories and it has 10 grams of protein. You're going to know that that's 40% protein, right? That's a great food as far as macro targets go. And it's going to be easy to work in. If it's 11, you know that it's more than 40% protein. If it's 9, you know that it's less than 40% protein. And I've gotten to where I can look at a food and know within 2 or 3% what percentage of protein it is. The moment I look at the label, 230 calories, 19 grams of protein, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's like 25%, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and so I can figure it out really fast that way. So that's one good little trick and a good way to do it. You can do the same thing because carbs are the same percentage or same calories per gram as protein is. This might sound kind of confusing, and if you need me to iron out the details, please let me know. But you can also do it with carbs. So let's say something's 100 calories and it has 10 grams of carbs. That's going to be 40% protein, or 40% carbs. So like if it has less, the gram number of carbs is less than, the calories, you know that that's getting closer to your carb target. For most people that are on fat loss on our program, their target is 35% carbs. And so if you're looking at something and it has 350 calories and it has 35 grams of carbs, you're like, that's a little high on the carbs. I got to see if I can fit this in or not. And so those two tricks are really good because the targets that we care about in our program are getting a minimum of protein and a maximum of carbs. So you can look at them both that way. And so if it has less than a gram of carbs per 10 calories and more than a gram of protein per 10 calories, you know it's great and it's going to kill your target. It's going to be great. It's going to be perfect. And if it is in the opposite way, depending on how close it is, you have to start being careful and making sure you can fit it in and still hit your targets.
Right.
So, but I mean, how did you learn like what does and doesn't work?
Well, whenever you taught me that helped a ton. But before that, like I would grab whatever it is, and like the first thing, I still do this, the first thing I look at is the calories, because if it's like a small like bar that's like 300 calories, I'm not even going to look at the macros because I'm not going to eat it.
Right.
But then I actually look at like how many grams of protein there is. I know it's different from percentages, but if it has like 1 gram of protein and like 50 grams of carbs, I'm like, okay, this is probably not the best choice. So I look, first thing I look at is the calories, then I look at the protein, and then I look at the carbs, and I kind of do the math in my head and think like, is this a good choice if I don't have my phone to like scan it in and just look at my pie chart.
Right. So if you have your phone, you can scan it in and look at the pie chart. That's the quickest way to learn. The premium version of MyFitnessPal allows you to see a breakdown of a certain meal, percentage-wise. That's kind of cool. You click on the blue bar right above the meal, and it'll toggle between total grams of carbs, fats, and proteins, and between percentages. So you can be eating a meal and say like you're having 5 ounces of steak and a side of steamed vegetables, and then you're gonna be like, I wonder if I can do wine, right? And then you log the wine as pure carbs, and you see the meal go to 19% protein and 59% carbs or something, then you're like, okay, that's not going to work, and you delete the wine. But you can kind of tweak it and see. So that's another tool as far as logging it goes. But my number one suggestion, Irene, as complicated as all that sounds, log it, look at your pie chart. If it works, great. If it doesn't, delete it. Try a different balance of the things you're eating, right? So you might have to eat like more chicken and less rice, like depending on the meal, but so you can shift the ingredients or just make a different choice. That it really is that simple. It sounds savage sometimes, like you need to plan ahead to know, like I don't want people like wasting food or anything, but you need to plan ahead and know. And when something puts you over your calories, you have to reduce the serving size or eat something else. Like it's that simple. And it can be like, it can hurt your feelings pretty good sometimes. Totally. Like you're like, surely I can have this, and your carbs go 1% over, and you're like, and you can't quite make it work. But you'll develop the skills really quickly to be like, oh, but I could just add an ounce of this.
Yeah, have some cheese.
And then instead of eating a cup of steamed rice, I can do 3/4 of a cup, bam. And you get to eat the same meal, it's just slightly tweaked. So all those things just take that skill development, Irene, and we're happy to help you iron that out. Last one, Lexi Johnson. How do you not become complacent? What drives you? So this is a very loaded question, right? This is like what's the point of life? But like it for me, there's a couple things that come to mind, Lexi, when I hear this question. How do I not become complacent? When I feel complacent, or I'm making complacent decisions, or I'm on the bridge of making a complacent decision, I don't make complacent decisions consciously. When I'm in touch with what's really most important and I have perspective about what matters most, and I pause to really hold to like, wait, what do I really want most? Like, do I want to go over calories today, or do I want to do this last piece of programming that I really don't feel like doing? Or do I want to take this step towards the goals and accomplishment that adds value to my life? And so whenever I make complacent decisions, I've even gotten to the point now where like, if I decide to compromise, if I decide to compromise in something, I have to like do it really quickly because I know I'll talk myself out of it. Yeah. Like, and so I'll just be like, no, just don't do that. Like, just be lazy, go. Because like, I know if I sit there long enough, like the opposite will happen, right? Yeah. And I'll come back to it. Anything come to mind for you with like staying?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has bad days, like struggles. There's times where you don't want to log your food or you want to go over calories. To me, anytime that happens, I do the same thing. I have to pause and think to myself, like, do I really want to hit a new low on the scale? Like, yes. So I'm not going to eat that. You know, you just have to kind of, it just comes down to your priorities, like exactly how everything else is in life. Like, what is most important, you know, weigh your options and then go with that. I mean, you can never, like, you're never satisfied. You know?
Absolutely. So not becoming complacent. So I think one of the pieces is, you know, there's a really common from the Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is begin with the end in mind. So like staying in touch with what your goal is. People phrase that in a lot of different ways. Know your why. But here's the caveat to that approach that I think is really important for some people. Knowing your why or remembering your why isn't going to do a whole lot for you if you don't know who you are and why you're doing this. If it's like, I want to lose weight because I'm like kind of bigger than I would want to be, and it would be really good if I lost weight because like maybe people would think I look better. Like, that's never going to get you anywhere worth going. You have to really understand what you're about, what's most important to you, and why adherence when things get really hard is worth it. And if you're not in touch with those things all the time, you're just going to go in and out. You're going to stop and go and stop and go. It's so easy to make the choice when your why is because it would be cool to look pretty in a swimsuit. Like, that's not enough. It's not. Like, you have to have something much deeper, and you have to be in touch with who you are, and not just your why, but why that why is so crucial to you moving forward. So the next piece of the question is, what drives you? And ultimately, as cliche as it might sound, Lexi, what drives me is the ever-looming concept that Jesus Christ died for my sins. Like, the weight of that, believing that the Son of God died for me and I'm covered in his blood, and all he wants from me is to love others. That's all he's asking. He's like, I just want you to love people the way I love you. That's all I want from you. And it's so hard. Like, so that's my why, Lexi. That's what drives me, is that I will never, like, I've got a grace that I don't deserve. And it's infinitely more than I could ever comprehend. And there's no strings attached to that, to what he did for me. And the only thing, he has a hope. It's not a demand, it's a hope that if you grasp this love that I have for you, that you will share it with others. Like, he's just hoping. You're free to do whatever you want. But like, I hope so bad that you feel this, how much I care for you, and you care for others in that way. So for me, holding to my targets, training when I don't feel like it, is a way of loving others in a way that has caused way more people than I ever dreamt possible to look at what I've done and say, like, if he can do it, maybe he can help me do it too. Like, and it's just been crazy. 20,000 pounds, less than 2 years. We just hired Jarrett, our 8th employee. We have a full-time team of 8 that are like my family. We have 700 clients that wake up every morning and can't wait to see their grade for their screenshots. And all because Jesus loves me, and I'm just waking up one day at a time saying, like, how can I give back, right? And so that's what drives me, Lexi. That's what keeps me moving forward, and that's what helps me. I know who I am, and I know why I'm here. And when you know those two things, complacency, you're always like, we're so susceptible to distraction and so susceptible to lack of perspective. So when you get distracted and you lose your perspective, complacency slides right in there. It's so fast and it's aggressive and it's toxic. Anything you want to add, Cass?
Yeah, it's just, you stole my answers. Like, it sounds so cliche, but like, when a workout gets hard, when I don't want to eat good, like, I just think about how insanely blessed I am. Like, it's I can't even comprehend it. Like, I'm complaining because my hand hurts. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, there are people out there that are so much worse off. Like, don't complain. Don't complain. Nobody cares. Don't complain. Like, that's what I tell myself all the time.
I would bet money that there is a Latin root, complacent, complain.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think those things are all kind of, I bet there's a Latin root that ties that together. But
sure.
what Cass is talking about is perspective. Like, there's always perspective of, like, anytime you get complacent, anytime you feel uninspired, right? Which is different from motivation. Inspiration for me is about knowing, being in touch with what matters most. And when you feel uninspired, it's because you're lacking perspective. And Tata, that is Cassidy's grandmother, my grandmother-in-law, really instilled in me one of the first really heart-to-heart conversations is that discontentment cannot grow in a grateful heart. It's impossible. And anytime I feel unhappy, I dance around that saying, and I'm just like, oh, but I'm so upset right now. But it's because I'm not grateful. It's because I'm not grateful. It's because I'm not grateful. You're being a brat. And like when I finally get in touch with it, like I come back to a good mood.
It's like what we talk about, like, well, what Ben Bergeron talks about, how like, F your feelings. Like, you don't feel like getting up and working out. You don't feel like hitting your targets. Like, don't listen to your feelings. Like, screw your feelings.
Feelings are super deceptive. Listen to your heart is a very misconstrued statement. Your heart is the truth. Your heart is really hard to connect with. And people, you cannot be guided by feelings because they are like a leaf in the wind. And feelings are like just a roller coaster, and motivation is a roller coaster. And those things are so fickle. And if you really listen to your heart, right, if you're in touch with who you really are and what matters most, complacency is more and more rare. It doesn't come as often. It doesn't stay as long. And but another piece of it, Lexi, is to know that you're not perfect and you never will be. And my goodness, that's okay. Like, you're gonna mess up an infinite number of times on this journey, and you're gonna make progress if you do your best to stay in touch with who you really are and what matters most. But that's our last one. Just thanks for listening, guys. We're super excited to do this. It's going to get better from here. We're going to refine the craft and add things. We're going to have guests. It's going to be awesome. Again, so stay tuned for news, inspiration, motivation from our clients and their successes each week. And we're just so thankful that you guys came here to hang out with us today, and looking forward to more in the future.
For sure.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.